Here we go again. One more round. One more round. Tag friends. Yes, thank you. And we'll see. Andrew. All right, let's see if he comes on this one. Hey. There he is right there. Hopefully, let me wave at some people. Okay.
All right. We good?
Still here. Echo.
Still an echo.
On my end.
On your end. All right. I wonder if headphones will do the trick. Try it. You're still choppy. Your sound is. Maybe I just listen to you again all day. How about that? I'll go try the headphones. Give me 1 second. Just give these people some power. Hold on. All right. Still echoey? Nothing, man. I'm not even hearing your voice. You're not? Not really, no. Strange. Sorry, buddy. All right. Oh, now I hear you.
Oh, wow. I hear you clear, too.
Crystal clear.
Can everybody hear us now?
As long as everybody else can.
Yeah. Hear me. No sound. Jennifer Hart said no sound. Let's see.
For you and I, it's crystal clear now.
They're lip reading. I can't hear. Nobody can hear us.
It's so strange.
Can anyone hear us at all? Yeah, Brandon said it's clear. There it is. Okay, everybody's hearing us now.
Okay.
Yeah.
You just gotta wait on it, you know? Just gotta wait on it.
And if you share it too, man, everybody your end's gonna catch you too.
Okay.
And I invited a whole bunch of my.
All right. I actually don't know how to share this right now.
Well, don't worry.
Without exiting it. Yeah, I don't want to mess with it anymore. We've already pushed. All right.
Okay, everybody can hear me now, man. This is straight. This is good.
Good.
Hello, everybody. Peace. This is Andrew Melrose.
Hello. Dropped you.
How many weeks ago was it you called me? We actually
Yeah.
it through.
Yeah, probably about 3 weeks ago.
Yeah, about 3 weeks ago, and then and he's got a whole lot to say. And dude, it'd be cool to bring you on. Just let it rip. You know what I'm saying? Don't hold back. And
right on.
And then today just seemed to work out the way it worked out. I've got a lull in my schedule today. I've got some time. I've actually been sitting down writing my book for the last hour and a half, 2 hours. which
Awesome.
it's crazy, man. I've got so much information that's and you're probably the same, because I've been journaling for a very long time, and
Yeah.
And it's, of course, it's evolved, but now I kind of get up in the mornings, and most mornings, if I sit down and just turn my attention within, I'm usually given something brand new, you know.
Yeah.
Mornings
Well,
I do it, you know, is just because I chose not to do it.
right. You flow a lot of content out, man. It's good.
It just keeps coming.
It's really good. Yeah.
And I usually start things off this way, Andrew, because I want everyone to encounter.
Yeah.
I mean, that's my number one goal. It's not so much
Same.
that people get the information that I'm putting out. I want everyone to get their own information and to encounter the true one within them.
Yes, completely.
So, you know, as we're talking, you may say some things that stretch me a little bit or stretch others. And I've learned that if we can not draw conclusions and just say, you know, maybe I'm just not, maybe my understanding, my current understanding and my current belief system is actually being challenged. And that's I've learned that's a very good thing.
Oh, yeah.
Because, you know, Jesus said, he said, look, he said the word in our Bible, all our Bibles is repent. And we know that's metanoia. But if you really dig down into that word, what he was saying there is go beyond your current understanding.
Right.
Go beyond current understanding so you can believe this good news I brought you, that the kingdom's here. You're
right.
in you. And you know, I was thinking about that word earlier too, and I think this will go right along with what you sent me a little message on some, a comment the other day, and then I was like, man, yeah, I want to hear about this. But the kingdom is the king's domain. So if the kingdom's within it, the within and the without, it's the king's domain.
Yeah.
And you are the king of that domain. So every nation is within many nations, and there's many nations without. So if we make peace within, then there's going to be peace without, you know, the
right.
on the external, or the as within, so without, as above, so below. But you said something in your comment the other day, and it was about speaking and hearing. And I really want to hear what you have to say about that. And I'll just kind of turn it over to you, Andrew. Maybe you can tell us a little bit about yourself and your journey and how you kind of
right on.
are now, and then just and we'll just flow from there.
Right on. Thank you. Yeah, I appreciate you coming on here. You're like full of power, dude, and light every day, and I really appreciate it. I'll definitely keep the story short because sometimes this goes way, too long for some people. But basically, I grew up in the normal religious church where they stopped at the cross and nothing after. Basically, you're, sinner, and that's just how it was. And so I knew right away, deep down, like that was off. And can you hear me okay?
Oh, yes.
You good? Good. And but I was like 4 years old, and I'm like, God, I know you're real. You got to make yourself real to me. And I never saw him real ever in the church and people around me. Good family, a lot of love. And so I was like, I'm just going to go see the world. And so I ran off and started raving and doing drugs and living a double life, got to be a very good liar and full of rage, and just lived wild. And I was like, kept running into the, bashing my head against the wall out there and not knowing that, all that insecurity could easily be fixed just by meeting him. And so, a lot changed at age 20 when I had a lot of stories of in those days where I was like just running around lost. But moved to Charlotte and said, I want my life totally changed. I want to restart right now. And so getting born from above, or as I've been thinking about lately, coming back into remembrance is simply just what happened. It's like, that's really truly what happened, is living a total forgetful consciousness into complete remembrance. That happened. And the past 7 years been a beautiful, just glory to glory. So right at the beginning, I had to get free of some stuff that was holding me back. And that's where I was introduced to God, with a lot of deliverance and things, which I have totally different thoughts on now. But hey, it was the manna of the day back then, and it fed me and set me free in so many ways. It was beautiful. But I've always had this just complete dedication to wanting to know the real thing, man. Just being very authentic, and recognizing that within others. So now, I mean, I'm just on the journey. And what it's funny when you were saying, like, every day you wake up and you get this flow if you look for it, right? It just flows out. And there's this beautiful dichotomy where it's like, we know all things. We have the anointing that knows all things. The anointing within us teaches us all things. But then this other side where it's like, if you wake up thinking you know all things, you might block, that new understanding. So the beautiful dichotomy is I wake up and say I know nothing at all, and I'm going to just jump into the unknown, and not try to bring again yesterday's manna into today, because it would rot the same way that when the Father gave it to the Israelites and they were gathering it, it would rot overnight. So he was trying to say, like, you have to live on today, the daily bread. And that's what I love with you, man. It's like you have continual thoughts of like your spirit and the way Alec speaks, but dude, it's new every day. And I'm like, man, this guy just taps into something, a whole new stream of thought every day. It's a beautiful, beautiful thing. And then, and even like those lack of understandings that we have, it's we're all just lights, and so I have to see your angle, and you have to see mine. So it's not even that we don't know it, but we come into that knowledge by hearing another light speak that. So when you speak that stuff, it brings me back into remembrance of a greater reality that's already within, and that's how we recognize and see the kindred spirits around us. So it's a lot of fun.
That's so good, man. One thing that I love that I'm really, really, really interested in is the mechanics, the inner work, everything, So
me too. Yeah.
As I first came along, man, I was awakened, but I was totally unaware of how anything works, Yeah. And so it's kind of like, God gives us a vision. Like we get this vision, and then we get to journey along, and we get the understanding of the vision. It unfolds.
Exactly.
So kind of like in my life, man. And I love what you said about waking up and saying, basically everything is new today, and we're starting fresh today.
It empties us, to be filled again. It's beautiful. Yeah.
Well, and what'd you say? I wake up and I say, well, I know nothing.
I know nothing. You come in like a child, like it just, whatever, just pure innocence and emptiness,
And that's what I mean by the mechanics behind it right there, what you said. See, we can teach from that platform now, because now people can take that and they can take that and practice that and actually make it their own, not as
right.
a method, but you can take certain principles that other people are using, and I've done this my whole life.
Totally.
And I can tweak it and make it mine, and now then I can practice in that way. So one thing that I teach people too, man, is because my life has really been filled with questions, and
same.
And so and I've learned, and I always teach people now, your questions are good.
Yeah.
There's somewhere where people are not honoring your questions, and they're shutting you off, or it's very rigid and it has to be one way, and so your questions may be too far out there for their system.
Right.
Then it most of the time it's time to move on.
Exactly.
Not that you're hurting anyone or leaving anyone. It's just you're growing. In order to grow, man, there's going to be many questions, and all the answers come from within us because the truth is there. So if we can like meditate and contemplate upon the questions, like you wake up and you say, I know nothing right now, and all of a sudden,
then you know everything. It starts to flow.
And it starts to flow.
Yeah.
And for me, like I'll hear you speaking, and all of a sudden these questions will start coming up in me, kind of like. Here's a good one. Like even when I read the scriptures, like over where Paul said, whoever wrote 1 Corinthians, I'm gonna say it's Paul, but he said, I shall know as I have, I shall fully know as I have always been fully
known. Right. Yes.
So, this is kind of the way mine works, and the reason I like to teach it this way is so people can start to kind of see, okay, now we can reverse things and bring it back forward. And so my mind goes, okay, first off, I've always been fully known by God. I mean, what's that mean, man? God's, eternal here. So I've always been fully known by God. And then I go, okay, these questions that I've learned, they are me. It's him who is true, who is God within me, of course. Speaking of questions, because, the first question that I can recall, Adam was asked, who told you were naked? And see, I used to think that was a negative thing, like Adam did something wrong. But right there was being invited into this intimate conversation.
Right.
To the one that was within him. Adam heard that within, just as Moses heard, tell them, I am that I am. He said, who should I say sent me? Well, he heard that within himself.
Yeah.
Same way we hear, And so,
Yep.
like on that scripture right there, he said, I shall fully know as I have always been fully known by God. And my question goes, okay, how have I always been fully known by God? And then the answer comes immediately. Ask him.
I just saw an orb go like that, dude.
Dude, that was nuts.
Yeah, that was awesome. On the snap, right?
Lately, man, it's nuts.
That's fun.
and so now what we're teaching is basically the mechanics to stay in this river of revelation.
Yes.
And the revelation is simply an uncovering of the truth that we are.
Yeah, and I want to interrupt and thank you, man, because you and a few others have kept that lens of oneness on me in a lot of ways. Because I would like get this whisper from within, reading the word, no one teaching me early on, and it would be like, can you say everything, Jesus? Can you say everything in the red letters? Can you say that as you? I'm like, well, I can say this one, like I'm the light of the world, because you said I'm the light of the world, but I can't say this one because that's a little bit, And so it's like, but I kept getting these unctions, and I'm like, man, where's that coming from? And it never got confirmed outside, you know, ironically. And so it was like this amazing, but you've really helped me like keep this lens of oneness. And I'm like, that's where all the revelation, that's where that river is. It really is. I get divided, right? Like I find something in that doctrine, something in that theology, something in that person, something in that experience. And it's all just these fragments, which are cool. But until you bring them back into that oneness perspective, then it actually can grow. That's where that seed is actually going to bring forth the 100-fold, is when you take that and bring it into the lens of Christ. So the verse has been like nonstop in my head is Philippians 2, where it says, let this mind be in you, which is also in Christ. So that right there is already really fat. Like, let this mind be in you, which is in him. The next thing, Christ did not count it robbery to be equal with God. It says that in the New King James, look it up. He did not count it robbery to be equal with God, but I'm supposed to have that mind within me? Dude, no one talks this. The next one, he being in the image of God or in the form of God, I wish I had the Bible in front of me, did not count it robbery to be equal with him, but he then laid himself down. Basically, he went low. So he knew he was all things, like we just said, the dichotomy. I know all things. I am all things. I am now equal with the Father as a son, fully heired. A good father wants his son to go past him, yeah?
Yes.
Right? So did not count it robbery to be equal with God. That thing keeps going on. And then he willingly laid himself down. So when we go into, the doors in the floor, as Justin Abraham says, you go low to go high. So when we come into humility and say, like, I still know nothing, and I still want to yield to, like, any way that the world around me can speak, or the child can speak the direct word to me, and live in that humble place, now that's true power, because then you can ascend and descend, filling all things.
Yes.
Is going, the lower we go, the higher we ascend, because we already were ascended. So we're actually filling all things, which is what it says about Christ. He had to descend to fill all things. Just beautiful truths, man. Like that one is big. And then even one in that Jesus said in the red letters too. He was talking this long dissertation. It's all red letters from John 14 to 16, or even 17 too, basically.
Yeah.
And there was one that, again, it's never going to be taught from the pulpit, but saying I and the Father are one. Okay, saying that I always knew you from the beginning. I wish, again, I had the Bible in front of me for word, but I always knew you from the beginning. I'm like, man. He's telling his disciples this. They're like, what are you saying? Who are you? And he always leaked that information, man, to them, that I've always known you. You were already clean because of the word I've spoken to you. Faith comes by hearing. He's just putting that seed there, knowing it's already here. So I can let you talk now, but there's so many thoughts going on with the seeing versus hearing, and then we'll get into that later.
Yeah.
And even just this thing of like seeing everything through the lens of oneness, filling all things through ascension, and then also, but just knowing that we're already ascended. So it's an amazing thing to humble ourselves and go low, so that we can fill all things.
Oh, I love that, man. And I see that, and it has shifted for me totally over the years as time has passed. But I used to always hear about this, and I found it in the Bible, where God gave us dominion, gave mankind dominion on the earth.
Mm-hmm.
And how I saw that dominion back then was kind of ruling and reigning, you know.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But I can even say ruling and reigning now, because if we're seeing everything through the lens of one, and that lens is pure love, then that dominion is actually walking as pure love.
Yes.
So there's not one above another.
Yes.
It's to see myself as the least, and also to see myself as the great.
Yes.
It's
Yes.
to see myself as you and you as me. It's to see it's even to see myself as good, but also to see myself as evil.
Yeah.
And,
Yeah.
and then to say, well, there's neither good nor evil. There's only God. There's only Christ. And I love what, like Brandon this morning, he's on here.
What's up, man? I love your stuff, bro.
Yeah, he's a heavy hitter too, man.
Yeah.
And I love listening to you guys and you right now too, man, because what happens is like you said, we're kind of like each a piece of the puzzle.
Yeah.
And you're a light and I'm a light. And so we can partake of every tree in this garden. We can partake of every tree. And where I can mess up though is where I start to conclude upon and say,
right.
I'm the only one with this truth. It's my way or the highway. And then
right.
done there is I've just created another religion.
Dude, I want to say one quick thing on that. Yes, because, and that's been my thought too, is religion and relationship is always at odds, right?
Yeah.
And I said the way I can make my marriage with my beautiful, amazing wife, Grace, the way I can make that a religion is come to a conclusion, build a wall, and now have that as my belief system against her, because I continue to build a wall, which, I know that's how she is. I know that's how she is. I know that's how she is. I know is going to end up blocking that, and divorce is down the road from that. But relationship says I know nothing, and mercies are new every day. So I step into a brand new, fresh set of eyes. Even Tony Robbins talks about that. Like, you should walk into seeing your significant other, and that can be all people, right? Because as we relate, we should come fresh. Man, I should never hold a stronghold against you because you said one thing, or we had an experience this one time. That now we start blocking relationship and building religion on it, because I know and I have a stronghold that I've now built a wall between us.
Yeah.
So that's with all relationships. I just saw it very clear with my wife, like that's never going to happen. It ought not.
Yeah.
So yeah.
That's good, because and what we've ultimately done is we've just cut ourselves off from ourselves.
Exactly.
It's kind of like, but through this judging and weighing and measuring things, which when you start to see that there's only one idea and there's only one thought, and therefore all these other thoughts, even these thoughts about ourselves, or outside of the one thought, there's only one thought. So we've been taught, and that, okay, here's a good example. I was down at the beach a couple of weeks ago, and I was like, man, the water is so beautiful today. True. Water's always beautiful. But in that thought, it means there's another side to beauty. So today the water's beautiful. What happens tomorrow when it's not so clear? Now the water becomes ugly. See, these are dualistic. We've grown up this way, judging and measuring everything. But what we're seeing now is this understanding that we're getting, that Christ is all, and that, therefore God is all. And what Brandon was saying this morning, I think I even put this scripture up in my own version, but it's over in John chapter 1, but it says all things were made through him. All things were made through the one and only anointing of the one and only being.
Right.
Everything that was made was made with him, or was not made separate from the one and only anointing of the one and only being. Therefore, all things are the one and only anointing of the one and only being. All things are the Christ, and the Christ in the Aramaic is Haya, and it means conscious life energy. So now I'm starting to see everything with singularity, and I'm starting to see everything with the single eye, with the eye
Yes.
full of light. Therefore, the body
Purity. Right.
be full of light.
Right.
And now I'm not judging one thing as dark or light or evil or good. I'm seeing all things as Christ.
Mm.
A good example
Yes.
of this would be like Mother Teresa. She went to the streets. Now, she was Catholic, right? She was a nun. But she went to the streets over in Calcutta, and she said, I love to go to the streets because I am serving my Lord. What she's saying there is the same thing the Hindu says when the Hindu says namaste. What's being said there is the light in me honors and acknowledges the light in you. We are one.
Right. Right.
So the Christ in me honors
Right.
and acknowledges the Christ in you. We are one. There's no
Right.
separation. So what she's saying there is the Hindu and the Muslim and the impoverished people, the sick people, the diseased people, the least, the greatest, whatever we want to say there. I'm going to the streets because I am serving Christ. We are one.
Yeah.
And that's where she got her enjoyment. And it blew me away that she could see that in such a way, even with her background, probably
Right.
in a lot of religious teachings and things like that in her Catholicism. But it's just an amazing thing when we start to see this way, because what it means is that there is no error and there actually is no evil. There's only one. There's nothing outside of the one. And if I judged anything outside of the one, what I've done is I've just judged myself outside of the one. I've judged in error. Therefore there's error in my sight. That's why it says if the eye be evil, what it's saying there, if the eye be wicked.
Divided. Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah. And it's reminding me, the picture I'm getting is the potter and the potter and the clay. The clay can't say to the potter, what are you doing? So maybe we are in a process in the earth, right? I mean, we gotta be real. Like, these people at Walmart who you spoke of, there's a little gap here that, we all got to come into the unity and oneness. So saying there is no evil is it's an accurate statement when you see the potter and his process. You know what I mean? It's like you can't demonize the cook, the chef, for like cutting up the cucumbers. Meanwhile, the whole meal's not done yet. It's not even. It's just a piece to that. But what we call evil actually is a process. It's in the midst of being swallowed up, right? It's coming into. We actually wouldn't even know the stuff that you're saying and know unless we saw the division first. And you know what I mean? Like that's how we actually redeem all things, and to the pure, which we decide to be, all things are pure. But to the it said, but to the impure, they are defiled, and their consciences are defiled. Basically, their own perception is defiling things and splitting and dividing it. But to the pure, all things are pure. So it is up to us to govern with this light and to bring things back into that oneness, because we got to be real. The understanding is just not there in the earth yet. Yeah. But as it is more and more in us, we swallow that up with light, because everyone has to come into that at some point. So that's what I'm really excited about is I think there's been a belief that like there has to be a war, this huge like, just fight out for all this to happen. And I mean, we'll see where the world goes on the external, but it doesn't have to be a war on the inside. Why did I think growing up that Jesus yelled at the storm, I rebuke you, stop. Why didn't he just say, hey, peace, be still, come on, calm down.
Yeah.
Love, oneness, unity. And everyone said, what just happened? Like even that listened to him. So even now I'm reading the word with like his rebuke is so it's out of oneness. Why do we have to fight and yell, and not just love that thing into submission? And there's this guy I'm getting reminded of in South Africa. Have you seen him? Dean Schneider? Dude, he's a freak. He lives out with like lions and cheetahs and hyenas and stuff.
Oh, wow.
And they like pet each other, and like, I mean, he is wrestling with them. These are big lions, dude, like big animals. And he basically lives in a zoo, but he's a normal guy. And I'm like, he's showing us about the restoration of all things. He's showing us about like this love and harmony with animals. And he said something cool. He said, when I'm with the lions, I have to yield and come under their rules of the pride. I have to be part of the pride.
Wow.
In order for them to know, dude, when you listen to him, you're going to get a lot of revelation. He's just a normal guy, but he's a super freak because he's hanging out with all these animals and so much peace, and they love him and grew up with him. But there's a lot of revelation in just like the day-to-day things he's saying. And I see that in creation, that you know, the restoration of all things is not going to be a belief system that everyone just says a sinner's prayer. That's not it.
Right.
It's going to be all of creation coming into that which you're talking about, into the light, and brought into complete harmony, where things literally do not decay, where we see every leaf breathing life, where we see every animal, the lion and the lamb, sitting together. And that's it's taken this long maybe for the awareness to come up and say, like, this division has not served us. The knowledge of good and evil has not served us yet, and so we're bringing this back into harmony and oneness. That's just my belief and stance on it, because listening to you is like, it is so pure, but there are so many things still, like so much suffering and so many things still very much, I would say, out of line, out of understanding, and still is just, it's not serving us, humanity, or those who are living victimized to it. And but the light has come, and so this union mindset or oneness mindset really is swallowing that stuff up. Hopefully that made some sense, but it's we wouldn't have even known to be the one unless we saw the two.
Right.
Yeah, there's like this God is one, he became three minus the two, which is the duality. So we come back one again. It's like this wacky equation I saw the other day.
Yeah.
God being one became male and female, and then now is subtracting the two, the division again, to bring back into one.
Oh wow.
And so we're in that process, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I've been seeing that. I mean, because like I love to go in because, and I understand that there are still people seeing good and evil, and therefore it's very real. You know, it's very real if you're in that reality. You know.
Right.
But I've been seeing where, like, even words like sin that we've used in such a negative way. And we've even attached it to bad behavior. We call bad behavior and action and all these things. And I've been seeing, well, you know, if we go back to the original, and I've also been seeing that, okay, Adam and Eve never made a mistake. It wasn't a mistake. Because if I say it's a mistake, then I'm saying I'm a mistake.
Right.
I'm saying God's not all knowing.
Right.
You know, and so I see, okay, let me go back before the so-called
before the was a was.
Right.
So, as Ian Clayton would say.
Yeah, let me go into this source.
Yeah.
Where all we were experiencing was one. Now if you go back into that place, you weren't aware of what you were experiencing, because there was only that experience.
Right.
So how so how does the one or the many as one become one as many?
Okay, you're saying it way better than I just did. Keep going on this.
So in Scripture it says that in him was life, and life was the light of mankind. Well, John 1's talking about source, talking about before the beginning, before anything was seen, before the visible world. It's over in Ephesians 1:4. It says you were chosen in him, chosen from in him. Before any. And so you go, okay, well, what was that like? And then the questions go off, well, why?
Yeah.
It not be so that God could experience itself.
Right.
and if that offends people, I say itself, because God is neither male nor female. God is both male and
all. Right.
And much more than that, I'm sure, you know. But if we're looking at things as in Adam and Eve, husband and wife, male and female energies, those types of things. So in source, let's say if we're created in the perfect image of God, Elohim, in the Scripture, and Elohim is many as one. And within me, I am many as one. And the macro of that is you and me and everybody else, and the trees and the birds and the breeze, many as one. Right. Or the one as many. Now that we're outside of that. So inside me, there's many nations. Cells. But those cells they all have their own consciousness. But that consciousness comes from my intelligence and my consciousness, which comes from the ultimate consciousness.
Right. Preaching, dude.
So So I've got a group of cells that get together that I've given the intelligence to form my liver.
Right.
I've got a whole, and so their sole purpose is to form that liver and to act as the liver and to do what the liver does.
Right.
Same with the heart, same thing with the lungs, same thing with the kidneys, same thing with all of it.
Yeah.
So those cells are one as me, but completely unaware of the oneness and the experience of oneness that they are.
Well said.
So in source, we were many as the one. We were the substance and essence floating around. This is like my buddy Steve Conover said, the fish is swimming in the sea, unaware of the water it's swimming in.
Right.
That it's one very water. It's breathing in water. It is the water. Just as we're walking around for a long time, unaware that we're one in the very breath that we're breathing.
Yes. Which is why you live wild and disserving and lustful and like just chaotic, is because you think you're one in yourself only. You think you're so divided. I thought I was alone. I thought I lived in so much, insecurity and fear, and oh my God, I don't know how to, all that stuff is separation. It's a separation mindset, and it bred stuff that didn't serve anybody and myself. But it was all part of that process to bring forth that oneness, man. That's really good. That's really good. You got me thinking a lot.
So that, like with what you just said, and Paul said it at one time, you only thought you were separated and of God, with God, separated from God, different from God, an individual unto myself.
Right.
Different. Not, and what I've been seeing here lately is that even our unique individual distinctions are not distinguishing me from God. They're distinguishing me as God's unique distinctions.
Yes, well said.
It's not, nothing is actually separating. So like, even with what you said, even when I thought I was myself, that ultimately led me to turn within, find my true self.
Right.
It's like I said, man, everything is according to plan. Nothing
It is.
Mistake. If I didn't experience separation, how would I ever experience oneness? How would I know that experience?
How could we even say I am?
Right.
Maybe we did, but we were one.
Right.
So we all said I am.
Yes.
But we didn't even know to say I am until we got here.
Yeah.
It's wild stuff.
So,
and then even this death. Go ahead.
Oh no, go ahead.
No, the death thing. You said something recently about death, and I'm like, it's what can you do to those who don't fear death? All fear is fear of death. Chris Blackaby said this very well. He said it's fear of financial death, fear of emotional death, fear of relational death. All fear is fear of death.
Wow. I love
and that got me thinking. And death is separation. Yeah, I know. And death is separation and feeling as if you're separated when really it's just a transfer. And so what's going to happen, and this is going to quickly segue into this seeing versus hearing thing.
Yeah.
I got this thought the other day. I'm like, no one's been believed. There's been too many words, just words in the universe, too long. That's a lie. That's true. No one knows what to believe anymore. Let's be real. They just don't. The everyday person's walking around. That person's lying on the media. This person, they don't know what to believe. The words have been just emptied of their power.
Yeah.
But what's going to happen, and what's happening right now, is they will see and then hear. So Isaiah said, "No ears heard, no eye has seen." When Paul, or the Corinthian, rewrote it, he said, "No eye has seen, no ear has heard."
Yes.
So he switched the order. And I've been thinking too, Jesus said, I do what I see the Father doing, not what I hear him saying.
Yeah.
So there's a lot in sight. And we happen to be in 2020. I thought it was like, okay, cool. It's like all the prophets saying 2020 vision and stuff. I'm like, okay, cool. And now I'm halfway through 2020. I'm like, I get it. It's actually something's happening to me. I'm seeing clear. I think we're all getting that single eye a bit more. And the sight is coming. So what I see happening, and shout out to Nico Morales and people who are like operating in this stuff, it's sight, then they'll hear.
Yeah.
We've spoken too much. There's been too many words that no one's believing anymore. They don't know what to believe. It's all just words.
Yes.
And it's just word. That's what everyone says. Just we don't know who to believe, but they'll see, and when they see, then they'll hear. And the world they have to be able to see that. The other one, I totally lost my train of thought. Yeah, go ahead. Sorry, I completely lost it.
Well,
Must be your turn.
no, I love what you're saying there, because you know how you said Paul completely reworked the order there.
Mm-hmm.
Well, we're doing the same, man.
Yeah.
All things, so, things like this, things like I was just talking about the word sin, even the word wrath, even the word destroy.
Right.
Nothing is bad or negative or evil or awful. That none of that. Even the word sin. I said, you know what? Sin was God's idea.
Mm.
People say, well, how? What? No way, man. Sin can't, because and that's only because we're seeing sin as some type of a action that we're judging to be sin.
Yeah, and because we dislike the experience.
Right.
You know, like I don't like how it feels to
But
whatever that is.
but let's go back to this one more time. Sin was the original idea of another experience,
Mm.
or
Mm.
of the experience of visibility, you could say.
Mm.
And the male and female energies, the one, you could say Adam and Eve, there was no mistake there. We embraced visibility.
Right.
We
Right.
embraced the idea of another experience.
Right.
And in that
Well
full
said.
embracement, we forgot invisibility to become visible.
Right.
So
Wow.
it's like this. So God, and I'm going to say Himself, God laid down His life. God died, forgetting Himself to
Before
become
the foundation of the earth.
before to become
Yeah.
you and me,
Mm.
so that God could turn within,
Right.
finding Himself in me, as me, experiencing Himself consciously.
Yeah.
So and because
Wow.
we're always one, we've always been one. I say we lay down
Mm.
our life.
Right.
We lay down the experience of one, the unaware experience of oneness.
Mm.
People say, well, why would we do that? Why would we do that? We were unaware.
Right.
It's just floating around being one and completely unaware. So we laid our life down. We died, forgetting that,
Mm.
to become this,
Mm.
only to turn back within, find
Right.
that, and consciously experiencing that.
Right, right. That's good. I've had this picture. It's like all of existence as we know it has just been one exhale, and now it's all coming back in. Like
Oh,
it's
wow.
all it was. It's like the particles get breathed out, and we are on the road back in.
So,
It's
so,
descending and ascending. It's the filling of all things.
so like what you were saying, man, the seeing and then
Mm.
hearing.
Mm-hmm.
I got something was given to me back in December. It was New Year's Eve of
Mm-hmm.
2018, and it was a vision. I didn't even know it was prophetic, and prophetic is the word prophet simply means to declare before,
Mm.
or you could, or to, instead of using the word before, to declare what's always been.
Mm-hmm.
You say, okay, well,
Right.
what's always been? To declare one.
Right. Right.
And
Wow.
and so we can even paint pictures with our words. That's why I love to kind of teach on the mechanics,
Yeah.
and even envision the mechanics of that. What goes on when this is happening? Like you
Yes.
said, I had a picture of that going out, the breath going out, and then the breath coming
Yes.
back in.
Yeah.
Okay, and then I say, okay, what did that look like to you? Where did you get that picture, and how did you get that picture?
Right.
So now you can say, okay, I actually saw that on the movie screen under my mind, or you can
Yeah.
say, well, I actually felt that from deep down within me, and it rose up, and
Right.
I had a picture.
Right.
And so now we can kind of teach from that platform, which is the vision. It's the seeing. How are you seeing that?
Right. Right.
Like here's a good example. A while back, I meet with customers and things all the time as I'm going. And a while back, I walked into a woman's house and I could tell she was in pain. I just knew it. I felt it.
Yep.
Felt it. And as we walked back into the back hallway, I turned around and I said what I felt. I said, "Are you in pain?
Mm-hmm.
And do you need prayer?" And when I said that, it rocked her to the core. She broke in and just started crying.
Yeah.
And
Wow.
and she had been praying for a very long time that God would send somebody along to heal her. Well,
she drew you in.
she drew me in. And so when that happened, I saw on the mental movie screen in my mind, I saw Father, but I saw Father as me, because it was my hand, my body, my vision that I saw.
Come on, man.
Oh, and I heard it. And I saw my hand placed on top of her hand on her hip. So I did what I saw, and a wind blows through, a tangible wind blows through her hallway, and boom, she was healed like that. So now we can say, okay, well, how did you see that? Where did you see that?
Yeah.
How did you feel that? And see, we can teach from this point. But going back to that thing from New Year's Eve in 2018.
Yeah.
I was told that church was no longer going to be like we thought in the four walls, and we're seeing that going on. And then I was told that it was no longer okay to simply teach and not demonstrate.
Come on.
It would be now a show and tell.
Yes.
There would be a demonstration, and we're seeing that with lots of people, man. We're seeing like the orbs and things. There's we're just not coming in
talking heads only. Yeah, it's all it's been.
Yeah.
There's no power. It's ridden of its power completely. It's the letter is killing, but the spirit will give life. And I came with a demonstration of the spirit and power, is what it says in Corinthians as well. Like the word says all of this stuff. It really does. And people are needing to see that. They really are. They're done hearing. Jesus said, you got to believe, at least believe the works I do. If you don't believe me, at least believe the works I do.
Yeah.
So we should be saying the same thing.
Yeah. And I tell you what, man, there's something else that happens too, man, because, dude, I can feel your heart, man. You got so much compassion and love. It's crazy. But when you speak, I can feel that, man. Because what you're doing, we're just not up here reading from a book.
Right.
We're sharing from our hearts.
Yeah.
Which is one heart.
Yeah, man.
Which is the heart of God, and not just Father, Son, and breath, but male and female energies. Allah, the one and only being.
Yeah,
we're sharing from that heart. And you say, okay, well, what's that heart? We're sharing from the very passion.
Yes.
The very character, the very nature, the very personality of the one heart, of the one and only being. And when we share from that place, what happens is people feel it.
Yeah, man.
And lights start to come on,
Yep.
And the neural pathways start to gather together and connect, and new neural pathways are formed, and happens. And the 12 disciples, with Jesus sitting in the middle, or the 12 cranial nerves in the middle of your pineal gland, which is the seat that the sits on, and the Lord sits on, are all coming into the revelation of the Father's heart, of the one. And so everything we're looking at, and even in the Bible, if we can say, okay, this is all going on inside me, all of it, every last bit of it, and it's all being fulfilled. And so the greatest work that me and you can do is, first off, to point people within, and not without, and it's to do the work within. It's to love myself. It's to see myself clearly, because I am, everything within me is without.
Yes. Yeah. It's projected. Yep.
It's all mirroring
Yeah.
what's within.
Yeah.
It's all outpressed in expression. So
Yeah. That's good. And the word has so many pictures, man. I was talking to my wife about this today. I'm like, our mind doesn't know the difference if we close our eyes, which we get immediately in the spirit when you close your eyes. Go there. The word's full of pictures. Like Yeshua literally walked around, looked at the tree, and spoke on, I'm the vine, you're the branches. He looked over here at someone sowing seed, and he spoke out of these parables, out of these pictures, and that's what I see you do, and a lot of other people. It's like why have we gotten away from the exact nature Jesus spoke in, which was pictures, parables, analogies, metaphors, allegory. That's the language of God. It's we have to see and experience that, like, this is all speaking to us. And there's so many. I mean, you can literally just like go in the word and find a picture and immediately go there in your mind. I was engaged in the spirit of wisdom because of Proverbs. It says wisdom cries aloud in the streets for all the simple minded, right? They're walking in the street, and I had this picture of a woman, a very faint voice, and no one's listening. But the spirit of wisdom to me was a feather. So she's like out of her mouth is coming all these feathers, and no one's seeing them, and no one's grabbing them. But I'm walking through the city with them, and I turn at her rebuke, is what it says in Proverbs, and I pull of that feather and I eat of it. And then she said would put her spirit upon. And so it's like all happening within. There's a picture right there. I just grabbed one out of Proverbs, and there's so many. You just go in, and all the pictures, you just go there. But you have to enter like a child to let your imagination go up. But the religious or the Pharisee, I think there's even something to the fact that Pharisees are all like, we always picture them as old people, right? And it's not that old people are bad. It's that, like, if you get old in your thinking and you don't be renewed in the spirit of your mind as a child to enter, then you'll lock off the kingdom from yourself. You yourself don't go in, Yeshua said, and you keep others from going in. So in where? He said, I am the door. You go in and out and find pasture. In and out of where? Visibility and invisibility. Right? And we bring these, and that's the door. The door is within. And he was never preaching an external. He said, don't even, there's no one good but only my Father. He wasn't wanting us to even worship him. And so again, the word's just full of pictures. I could go on and on with them. I think that'd be a pretty good transcript to write, is like just write out the pictures and parables, and it turns this into a Narnia. Like the door is how I always see it. Like you go into the word and you open Narnia, and now you go experience that thing as you have to, because you, Alec, have to experience that word through your perception to experience your Narnia and have that epic in your life for it to actually become real. It's not me. It's not me who's going to bring you there. It's not, preaching an external source. So he said, do not look. It doesn't come with observation. I posted this morning. See there, see here. No, the kingdom is within. And I think, yeah, man, it's so good. I posted that one thing a while back. It's one of my favorite quotes now. That true enlightenment is when the wave realizes that it's the sea.
yeah.
Like, I love that. It's like that's so good. And so we're already in. It's a good message.
Dude, man, what you just said out of Proverbs, man, and
that's just one of a million, dude. They're all over.
see, I love that because and I say this too, but if I'm reading anything as just literal, as
right,
that's literal, that happened to somebody way back then, it does nothing for me, man. There's no
right.
power in that. Okay, I'm learning something, but the only way I can apply that is if I make it my own. If I take it within,
yes.
and I go into the story, and
wow.
I become every character.
Yes.
And I play out
yes.
the part.
Yeah, and religion has taken these things and they force it on you to be their perception of a story rather than ever working it out within them.
Yeah.
They're forcing you to eat of a food that they never ate of, and you're like, it's why it's so off. It feels like spiritual rape. I hate to say it. That's how it feels like. Is I grew up most of my life seeing people go right for the spirit, man. You're going right for the jugular. And like, dude, they weren't even loved. They weren't looked in the eye. Their hands weren't shaken. They weren't cared about. It's like, am I a person, or you're just trying to get me to say some prayer for you? It's this, like, you know what I mean? Like, just take the word and throw it at someone and use that sword to kill and tear down rather than to build up, and say, man, let that thing chisel you within, and make disciples of many nations within. So.
Dude, let me ask you this, because this can probably help some people. There was a question that came up too from my buddy. That's a a friend of mine that I spent all my Army years with. No, I didn't. That's different.
Army years. I would love to hear about those one day. We'll get
Yeah,
into seriously, man. Yeah, that's cool. Thank you. Yeah.
but so when you were reading in Proverbs, because I think this can help people, man, because this has to do with the seeing that you're talking about. It really does.
Right. It
Not just
does.
an external demonstration.
No,
Now,
close your eyes and see.
there you go. There you go. So
Yeah.
when you were reading through the proverb, I'm not sure which proverb that was, but I love how you saw those pictures and things. Um, Break that down. How are you taking that within?
Mm.
You know, reading, close
Yeah.
your eyes,
Yeah. Yeah.
imagining
Yeah.
exactly going into
Yeah.
the story. Because
Listen,
the whole thing's a parable.
exactly. Yeah. We've seen too many movies. We've read too many books. Now it's time for us to make our own and to apply it and to pull that thing into creation and create it unto ourselves. Because people running around trying to get their, people's hands to lay on them so they can get the wisdom from that person through a spiritual transfer only. How about go get wisdom? Like is like just go get it. Like it's there. Unlock it within. We are many mansions. We are many houses. So just unlock that. Go through all the rooms. It says the spirit of a man is a lamp of the Lord, searching the most innermost parts. So that's your key scripture in Proverbs 20:27. The spirit of man is the lamp, the light of the Lord,
Wow.
searching the most innermost parts. So go in. Someone, Joe Dispenza, he restructured his whole spine laying down there. He said it took him some serious discipline. So you got to make disciples, right? Serious discipline to put his spine back. He was laying, hearing the word on the exterior saying you'll never walk again, laying and saying I have a greater word within that I will walk again. Now he's teaching the same thing, and he's like brought so much life to people. So with me personally, just pick one. Go eat of the word yourself and find that picture. And in one verse, you can take that verse, meditate on it, contemplate on it, picture it, put your characters in place, put the picture in place, close your eyes, and form that thing, frame it up. Because we don't see with our eyes, we see through them, which is
Yes.
pretty wild. So then you go to the next verse and you just build on that thing and you go experience it so much so until you do that over and over and then you actually feel it happen. You're like, I just gained wisdom. Like I just unlocked like wisdom. And that was from that specific one. And I needed wisdom bad. I still do every day. But we do. But I mean, there's so much. Just go in the word, whatever you need. It says, with joy you will draw the waters from the wells of salvation in Isaiah 12:3. With joy you will draw water from the wells of salvation. How much? That's a lot right there.
Yeah.
With joy. So, joy is my anchor and I'm like going down, I'm pulling or my bucket, I'm pulling water, my life source, my hydration, my life, from the wells of salvation, healing, freedom, deliver. Go in, just do the picture. Just take a word and go have fun with it. It's made to be, yeah.
What you're explaining there to me, man, was amazing. But you just explained, we can do this with all things.
Right.
Explained manifestation, expression. Because here's the law of expression.
Bring it.
Ideas are conceived in divine mind. You say, okay, what's divine mind? Your mind is divine. The womb of creation, it's not that there's a conscious and a subconscious mind. We can't, not separate. They're one. It's one mind. So the idea that descends from your mind, the one and only mind, the one consciousness where all ideas descend from. So
right. Wow.
What happens is through our imagination, we discover every idea that we came up with before, you could say, it's already finished. It's discovered through our imagination. This is ascending, grabbing hold to these ideas, these heavenly ideas, because every good gift comes from above, right? You're locked up on me. Let's see here. Well, maybe Andrew will come back. So ideas, we ascend through our imagination and discover the that are for the greater good of all. I lost him. Let me see if I can bring him back on. Adding him again.
Thank you, bro. Thank you so much. Some lame-o called me. Sorry.
A trick is dude, I used to do these forever and I never knew this. You in your settings you can go in and hit do not disturb.
Okay, I'll do that.
Through, but no worries right now because you'd have to get off to do that.
Yeah, no, we're good. Keep going. Keep going. This was good.
The law of expression says this: ideas are conceived in divine mind, they're brought forth as expression and manifest as form.
Mm.
So you say, okay, where are these ideas coming from? Think about Jacob's ladder. You can look at Jacob's ladder in many different ways.
Yep.
But so these angels or messengers carrying messages, ideas, are descending and ascending upon the earth, which is us, and the heavens, which is us, because it's heaven and earth. It's all
Right.
within. So I'm ascending into the divine mind that I am. And in ideas for the greater good of all, you say, okay, you have an idea. Here's an idea that I have. And it okay, all of a sudden I had a heart for orphanages.
Mm-hmm.
I had a heart to start schools. This just, in through meditation and contemplation of these things, I would grab hold of these ideas. You say, okay, how do you know that idea is from God? Well, every idea is. That's a good idea. That's a gift, man. That's for the greater good of all.
Right. Wow.
And so this idea drops down when I take hold of that idea and I say, okay, that's from God. That's from God. And now my inner voice told me, Holy Spirit told me that I am discovering everything that we together created before. Now I can see that it's already done, and I can feel that it's already done, because when I from God, it's already done. And so, and what happens is that idea is conceived, it's taken hold of, it's grasped, it's felt to be true, and it impresses upon the subconscious mind.
Yes. Wow.
When the mind is impressed upon in that way, it brings forth desire, action, vibration.
Mm-hmm.
You start to follow the very idea that you had.
Wow.
Hold before your eyes. You start to put off a new sound, a frequency, an electromagnetic signal that in the kingdom. And so the king sits on his throne and he declares and he proclaims. It's not so much that I'm declaring, yeah, you can do that. It's the sound I'm putting off. It's naturally true to me.
Yes.
So Mary is brought the idea of Jesus, the Son of God, by the angel messenger that descended down into Mary's divine mind. Mary took, you can go back in the scriptures and read about this. Mary took hold of the idea of Jesus.
Right.
That it shall be,
Right.
And so the idea was brought forth as expression. She became pregnant.
Mm-hmm.
She showed carrying the divine child.
Yeah. Wow.
And the divine child manifests as form, the Son of God, Jesus.
Wow. The evidence of things not seen. You got to bring it forth.
We all must take hold of this idea of the Son of God, the Christ, express that idea and manifest that idea as form. That's why we're here. God manifesting in, through, and as a people. He cometh in a cloud. Jesus Christ coming in, through, and as you and me.
Yes.
And the whole thing goes down, okay, Jesus, who is Jesus? What is Jesus? Nobody's taken away from Jesus. This makes Jesus way bigger.
Right.
Because in the name, it means to become at its root.
Wow.
It means to become. You say to become what? We're not actually becoming. We're realizing all that we've always been. Becoming is being God.
Yeah.
And what you were breaking down when you were speaking about the imagination and taking the scriptures and playing the role inside you and what you were just doing for me right there is you were breaking down the mechanics of the advanced technology that we are. See, we've been taught how to strive, we've been taught how to books. We've been
Yep.
taught how to build businesses by our own mental and physical ability. Go
Right.
dig a ditch, go plant a plant, all these things. But what we haven't been taught so much of, and I love these guys like Greg Braden and Joe Dispenza and all these guys, because they say the material was lost. It was actually done away with and hidden from us. And you say, okay, what was hidden from us? Well, what was hidden from us is how we operate this advanced technology that we are.
Right.
And it's through imagination, it's through feeling, it's through intuition, it's through emotions, it's through fantasy or fantasizing. Takes imagination to a whole new level, because when you fantasize, you actually feel the fantasy.
Wow.
You evoke a sensation in your body, and the best way I can explain it would be, if you had a sexual fantasy, there would be an arousal in your body. There'd be a
right. Hey, that's a good, and that's the right picture. I mean,
and you can do that
with anything. Yeah.
Anything.
Wow, man, that's really good. And yeah, it's we're antennas, from those two. We got to start getting in sync, and when that synchronicity and they start vibrating the same, that's what brings the creation. All right, we'll keep the picture going on the sexual track, right? So man and woman together, when they link up the vibration, they conceive life, new life.
Yes.
We'll keep it at that. Everyone knows. That's it. I mean, that's it though. It's bringing forth life from two into one, which this is the great mystery is Christ in the body.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I see that as the within, as the husband and the wife, the male and female energies. It's what in the book of Thomas, Jesus said, when the two make peace in one house, say to this mountain, move, and the mountain moves. And the mountain is the mountain of dualism.
Right.
It's that mountain of dualism. Why? Because now you've realized you're one.
Right.
And that everything is me. So a good example would be, moving weather patterns, moving clouds. Well, I first saw that in the scriptures. I saw that Elijah was a man with a nature just like yours and mine, and yet he fervently prayed, for the rain to cease, and it ceased for 3.5 years, and then he prayed again, and it rained. And I said, well, Elijah was like me, and he prayed, and the rain ceased. So I can pray and the rain cease. That's how I first saw it.
Yeah.
And then I said, well, what kind of nature did he have? Then I have the same nature. It's the only nature we can have. And that's Father's nature. There's only one. When you go to anything, there's only one. One nature, one love, one soul, one God, one Father, one Lord, one Mother, one Spirit, one breath, one life, one faith, one everything, one idea. In which we're bringing forth in many different unique expressions of the one.
Right.
And so what happened though is I saw that in this is kind of a little teaching on what we're talking about here. I first saw it so external that I was commanding and demanding the clouds to move.
Exactly. Yep.
And they would move. And then I heard within me, it was almost as if the clouds were speaking to me as their friends. And I heard, would you command and demand a friend to move in that way?
Wow.
And it went totally against my nature, because I'm a kind and nice person.
Right.
I don't want to demand and command anyone. If I do, I'm just moving out. I'm moving in forgetfulness,
Yep.
And so I went, no, I wouldn't want to do that. So I'm sitting on the beach with my wife, and it was supposed to rain all weekend, but we knew, because we had been moving weather and things from tornadoes and things, we knew we could go down there, and we could, at this time, we knew we could tell them to leave and they'd leave. Well, they were. But then this hit me down there sitting in the chair on the beach, and the clouds were gathering overhead, and I went, no, I wouldn't do that. And this is all taking place within me now. And from my heart, I felt and I spoke and I said, hey, do you mind maybe moving out of the way a little bit so I can experience my friend the sun? And I said this through my heart.
Wow.
They literally moved over my head. And I went,
Wow.
oh. And then it hit me when
Wow.
this experience of one started to hit me more and more. I am you and you are me. I am all things because God is all things. I'm one. I'm all things. And I said, well, those, even the clouds, even the air, even the water is me. So now I can, through my imagination and through this heart sound, this feeling, I can drop down into the clouds, which is an extension of me, like my finger.
Yep.
And I can drop down into the clouds, being the clouds, and I can move. And see, you can do that with anything.
Right. Wow.
Your imagination is using your feeling. And now this has come through practice, though.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
This one you're talking about with the imagination and you know, the 12 disciples and
yeah.
Joseph had to discipline himself to learn how to quiet down the past, future, come to the present moment. And in this place of, I call it the in-between, I can actually move places that are all in me. I'm not actually going anywhere as far as time and space.
Right. You're just showing up there with your awareness. Yeah. You're a drop in we're all a drop in the ocean, but that drop can be anywhere.
Yes.
And Yeshua even said it. He said the wind, right? You don't know where it goes or where it comes from, or where it comes from or where it's going. But wind is wind. I literally, my next exhale could literally be your next inhale down in Alabama. It could be, because we don't know where the wind goes, but it's all here. So yeah, man, they're sinking into that oneness. And I gotta say, this whole shutdown really helped me a lot, with a lot more walks in the woods, quiet, barefoot, and getting a lot more, being more forced to be in that oneness and forced to be disciplined. It served me big time. It was awesome. Did a whole detox, like didn't lift any weights for a month and a half, went just straight fruits and fasting, and like just up the frequency, silence myself a lot more. And I'm like much stronger than ever now, getting back into working out. So I'm very into health. So it's like I just truly love engaging the body in every single way. Hot therapy with pushing myself in the sauna till I'm like, burnt to a crisp, or in the cold and ice bath and stuff, and getting in oneness there. I don't know if you've gotten into that, but love it, man. All that stuff, man. Just like going into the stress. Kirby DeLeneral is one of my favorite people on the planet. And he was talking about going into the void where the creation can happen. It's like the earth was without form and void, and that void is still exists, the in-between place you were talking. It's the same thing, different different language for it. And it's really helped me on my runs, on my things that are very, very stressful. And even some people, they need it, and corporate America needs it, bro. Like they need to like back off into the stillness, and be able to disconnect, which was really reconnecting. So it's yeah, I've actually truly enjoyed the shutdown for what it was. I'm like, hey, I'll take it. Forced me to go be more quiet, and that's great. Yeah. Man.
What was there anything else you want to?
Dude, I could talk to you like for hours and hours. So we'll just do another one soon. But no, I want to encourage. I don't know if you got enough encouragement, bro, for like who you are and what you put out. I know you're not doing it for a big audience or whatever. Maybe you are. No, I'm kidding. But you put out so much, man, and it really does help. Maybe you don't get a like on every time from mine, but you get the attention and the honor and appreciation for it. So like, just keep doing what you're doing and putting it out there. And I'm really, really excited about the books that you're going to put out. Some are going to be so simple. I feel like you're going to even have some books that are going to be almost like stupid simple, but that's it makes wise the simple. That's what you're going to be doing, is really bringing this into like mega short books. And it's going to be like this bite that just gives people life. Other ones, you might come out with something that's this massive narrative. So just let that flow come out in any form, any fashion, because you are all. And I just want to encourage you, I guess, on behalf of like everyone who reads and listens to your stuff as well, and just to go. You got the RV, right? So you're going to be, dude, you're going to be showing up and manifesting in a lot of different ways with that, just the mobility of that. And yeah, dude, honor your heart. I think the first thing I said to you on the phone was, people with your knowledge, with your experience, with your passion, kind of they insert themselves a lot. You know, it's a lot for self gain, a little bit of money or a little bit for a crowd or whatever. We've seen that too much. And with you and a few other people, I've really seen this unconditional love laid down. Normal guy driving his car, being so unnormal. And so I just honor that a lot. And that's what I see happening more and more. It's like, we don't care about titles, labels. We don't need any of that. We need us to be in complete union with our own selves and sight, and then be able to share that with other people. And that right there is the fulfillment. So I see that in you, bro, and honor it a lot. And it's known your fruit is love. And so that's the biggest thing. Without, you could do everything else, man. Without love, it's nothing. And that's been your gateway. And always will be. So,
man, I appreciate that.
Yeah. I don't know if you get enough encouragement, man, but you're very loved, and I honor you and really look forward to meeting you in person as well. Yeah.
Definitely. And back at you on that. And I love you too, man. And I feel like we've known each other forever.
I know, me too. We have. That's fun. If the world would just get that, we wouldn't fight. Go ahead.
Real simple, man. And I just want to encourage you in this way. You're one of the many mighty rivers, man, that are coming together in this surge of truth. And,
wow. I even feel cold on me right now.
Yeah, it's just coming forward. And I can see something in the really, really, really close future, like now, is that you're going to be stepping more into teaching a whole lot more lives. You have a natural ability to teach in your voice.
Thank you.
Putting things in a very simple way that we can hear, and they're very palatable for people.
Thank you, brother.
And I tell you what, I noticed while you were speaking, man, you were painting pictures with your words. And as you were speaking and describing the experiences you were having and how you were doing certain things, I was able to see it, man. And the very thing you were talking about, the seeing is the hearing, the seeing and the hearing, you know?
Yeah.
Seeing, then the hearing, you were doing, and you were actually using it through your words, man. So it's a very amazing gift. I really do see you moving into a very powerful teaching role. That, and with the same heart I think we all have, it's that everyone would know who they truly are.
Right, that's it.
That humanity we're one big family.
Yeah, man.
And that really, I think you have the same heart, is that we want to see people encounter.
Yes.
And because when you encounter, you experience who you truly are.
Yeah. You can't be arguing out of it. You're just done. I loved doing drugs in the past. It's because, man, you can't come back. You've done it. You've been there to that realm. I've been, sorry. Like, unless you've been there, you don't know what I'm talking about. It's the same way with life. It's just realms of experience. We can talk about that next time. It's
almost like the fire hydrant, man, has been turned on, and the hose has been placed in your mouth, man. Not gonna fall. You're in a stream of deep revelation, and we're all in the deep.
Found you in the deep end. Thank you, man.
We need to hear you.
Thank you, man. Thank you. I will. And I take that and I feel it tangibly now even, and I honor that. Thank you so much.
Bless you, bro. I love you, man.
Thank you, man. You too, bro. I love you a lot. And thank you, everyone, for listening. I was just happy to be talking with Alec. If you guys wanted to be a fly on the wall, good. You know, it was a Joe Rogan style, man. Everyone wants to listen in on these two people talk. It's great. Love it. Hey, I would love it, man. Bless you, bro. I really look forward to meeting you soon. So let's talk on that. And yeah, big things ahead. Go find the miracles and go be the miracle today.
Hey, man. You too.
All right, man. Bless you. Bye-bye.